Otis McDonald is an African-American man living in Chicago. He was in his late 70s. He was a social activist trying to improve the area where he lived. And because of that, he was threatened by drug dealers and others who were basically the targets of cleanup that he was hoping to achieve. McDonald tried to purchase a gun, but because Chicago had a gun ban, he was unable to get one. So he petitioned that his Second Amendment constitutional right was being ignored and the Chicago law was unconstitutional. I think we tend to forget that the Bill of Rights was meant to just control the federal government and really had nothing to do with the states. So actually, at the time that the Bill of Rights were passed, there were some states like Massachusetts that had an official religion up right through the American Civil War. The Bill of Rights did not apply to the states, just the federal government. And after the Civil War, because the Southerners were ignoring the rights of these newly freed slaves, Congress passed an amendment, the 14th Amendment, which would allow individuals to bring a case claiming that their rights were being infringed. This would mean that the states had to abide by the individual rights that were expressed in the Bill of Rights. The Second Amendment hadn't been incorporated because it took so long for the court to actually decide its basic meaning. The Heller case had applied only to Washington, D.C., which of course was just a district, and so it wasn't yet incorporated through the 14th Amendment. And to incorporate it, you needed to bring a case to test whether the Second Amendment should be incorporated and apply throughout the country to all the states and all the cities. McDonald's argument was that the court in Heller had pointed out and decided that there was an individual right to have a weapon in your home for your self-defense and other lawful purposes. And so therefore, this Chicago law that deprived residents of a right to have a weapon to protect themselves was unconstitutional. The city of Chicago argued that the Heller decision did not apply to the city of Chicago because it was confined to the District of Columbia, and that also it should not be incorporated because the Second Amendment was not necessarily fundamental to American history and was certainly not a right of all civilized countries. The vote in this case was 5-4 again. Justice Alito wrote the opinion in this case. It was a plurality opinion because Thomas wanted to go back to using privileges and immunities to incorporate rights under the Bill of Rights. The other 4 members of the majority went along with what had become traditional over the years, and that is to use the Due Process Clause to incorporate it. The 4 justices in the dissenting opinion argued that Heller had been wrongly decided. There was no individual right, and the test for incorporation should not be whether this is a fundamental right consistent with America's history and liberty, but whether it's a fundamental right for other civilized nations.